Hello, hello, hello. Rise and shine. Rise and shine. Yes, it's a beautiful day, a little bit cloudy. Seems we're getting into early winter. This is Miss Kane, joining you live from Gaborone, Botswana. And I have a special guest for you, Miss Latasha. I'm just going to pass the mic so she can say hello. And I will say a warm, warm welcome to you all, lovers of the Happiness Tribe. If you're joining us, you're on Facebook, you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, please say hello. Tell us where you're joining us from and engage and tell us what you want to know from us. If you have a message you'd like to pass on, a product you're promoting, an event, anything, just put it on the comment section. As always, this is your usual, the Happiness Tribe Sunday podcast with a special message and with my eagles saying hello. You can hear them, right?
Yes,
As soon as
yes.
I get on live, they join us just to say hello. So over to you, Miss Latasha. Please say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you.
Well, good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. It is 9 a.m. Central Standard Time here in the beautiful Dallas, Texas, USA. I'm in the South, y'all, and it is beautiful weather, amazing weather. I am just a little tiny bit about me because we're going to get into it a little bit later on. But I am the author of Your First Book Workbook, which is a book that teaches authors how to write their first book the right way without all of the confusion, without all of the pitfalls and the common mistakes that a lot of people make. It gives you the structure from the beginning so you know exactly what you're going to be doing. So that's just a little bit about me. I'm a high school history teacher by trade. I taught English for a long time. And so the English language, writing the English language is my expertise. And I've been writing and reading since I was 3 years old. And so that's just a little bit about me. I have a lot to say about writing and reading and AI. So that's it for now.
Awesome, awesome. Most welcome, Miss Latasha. Super excited to have you, and more especially because you're on a topic we all love. I'm an educator. I've always been. I think so. My parents were teachers. I think it's like a mantra they pass on.
Hmm.
Once you're raised by a teacher, you feel the need to keep on educating. You feel
Yes.
the need to keep on passing knowledge, which you find we are constantly teaching, even when people are not asking. Can I know that?
Yes. It's in
You
your
just want to
blood.
teach. Mhm. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I love it. So, and this is what makes me so much resonate with your work. Because I don't know, you can advise me on this, but I feel like, this thing that people say, the wealth and the wisdom of this world is at the graveyard. You've heard
Oh,
of that
yes.
saying?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
The wealth of this world is at the graveyard. So I feel like it's important we all try to empty that cup before the sun sets
Yes.
on us. And I feel we are who we are, most of us, because somebody sat and wrote a book.
Amen.
The darkest periods of my life, I was able to navigate them by reading somebody's story, somebody's biography, some woman who went through this. We have a lot
Hmm.
of phenomenal women who have done a lot of amazing work that I read their books, and then I went like, I can do this. She did it. I can do it.
Yes.
So, do you resonate with that? Everybody should write a book.
Amen. I actually heard the famous motivational speaker, Les Brown. Have you heard of Les Brown? He said,
Yes, yes.
yeah, he in one of his talks, he said, imagine yourself lying on your deathbed and the ideas that you never gave birth to come to you and say, hey, we're angry. You never gave us life. So now all of these brilliant ideas must die with you. And when I imagined that and he spoke those words, I said, oh, wow, there's so many ideas that I'm still pregnant with, right? We're pregnant with these ideas. And if we don't give birth to them, they will die inside of our womb and go into the grave. And so the graveyard is the richest place on the planet because it has so many ideas that people said, one day, I'm going to do it. I'm going to share it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to bring it one day. And then we get afraid, and one day never comes, and then we die, and then the information is lost with us, right? And so I love that. I love that scenario that you just painted because it's so true and it's a warning to us.
So we can actually say we all have a beautiful story to tell, and we should tell our stories. Everybody should write a book, right?
Amen. Everyone has a life lesson. Everyone has something in their life that has happened that was a major event, turning point, which made them either go to the left or to the right or stay still, right? There was something that happened that made you the person that you are today. And so that is what you need to write about, because a lot of people say, well, I don't have anything to write about. My life is not exciting. I'm not a celebrity, right? I didn't go through lots of things, but your life has taught you something, and you should be documenting that journey. You should be writing your story every day as you're living. You should be writing down, this is what I learned yesterday. This is what I'm excited for today. This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. All those ideas are here. They should be on the page so that you can tell it to the world when you're ready.
Absolutely. I love it. Now, tell me, Latasha, we are living at an age where we have my friend called disruptive AI. How are we
Yeah.
navigating that? Where authenticity might be getting lost? Are we still telling our story, the real genuine story, and how do we integrate the world of writing with AI written content, which sometimes can get conversations can get lost in translation when we're using AI? How do we navigate that as book writers and as lovers of education?
Amen. I love this question. Everyone asks me this question. How are you using AI? How are you using, and is it cheating? Is it copying? And here's my answer. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take you back a little bit. I am a Christian woman. I do read my Bible and I believe in God. And I also believe that AI has always been around with us, but it's just looked like a different form. AI is a tool. It is what we use to make our lives better. And we have always, since the beginning of humankind, we have always used tools to make our lives easier, faster, and better so that we can get back to the business of hanging out with our families. We're here to spend time and enjoy relationships with people. And so anything that gets in the way of us connecting, like we're doing, we're having a conversation today, anything that gets in between that, we want to get support so that we can really connect with each other. And so AI is one of those tools that helps us connect with other people because we have so many tools that make it easier and faster and more meaningful. You're in Africa, I am in North America. You and I would not be able to have a conversation had it not been for computers and live stream and these platforms. And so we have to think about it as technology that makes our life better, but it doesn't replace human beings because we will always crave the connection of a person. So there is no fear, right? There's only faith or fear. You need to have faith. Fear, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. If you're afraid of AI, I'm going to give you a few things to think about. so that when you leave this conversation, you'll think about it a little bit different, and you'll be more open to using it, because it's not a replacement for you, it's an enhancement for you.
I love that. I love that. And actually, if we can all embrace that and learn to use it as a tool. So,
Amen.
Latasha, what do you say about AI written books? And just before you answer that, let me say hello to we have Yodit. Lovely meeting you, Yodit. A director and one of the directors for the Happiness Tribe. Please welcome if you want to join us on stage. A lovely person from Ethiopia, but based in Botswana, quite a global
Yes.
community. Then we have Miss Paula joining us all the way from Belize. She's
Paula.
in a strategy. Yes.
I love her
Miss
question.
Paula
She's got a question.
is good. Ask her. She's a
Yes.
strategist and a director for the Happiness Tribe as well. Very
Okay.
active and helps a lot. She's our big sister who keeps us in check. And I want to read
Yay.
her comment. She says, I'm imagining just that at this stage of my life. Oh, I'm imagining just that at this stage of my life. She's the one who reads for us. She reads very well. She reads like a journalist, a CNN journalist. I'm happy now with my first book. Okay, how is the labor
Yes.
pain going?
Yes.
So she has a question for you. Miss Jimerson, what is the process of self-publishing a book? She needs you to answer that. And then
Yes.
she's also asked another question. How can AI assist in the writing process? I love that question.
Yes.
Both questions I love most on how can AI assist in the writing process. Thank you. Over
Yes.
to you,
Yes,
Miss
I love it.
Latasha.
I love it. This is another question that people ask me all the time. So, what is the process for self publishing a book? So, before you get to the book, you have to have an outline. So, now I'm going to take you back to fifth grade when your English teacher should have been teaching you how to outline your thoughts. And you may have learned it again in seventh grade, and then ninth grade, and then college and graduate school. So, let me just take you back to your educational days in the classroom. You had to write an outline which was like a checklist for the things that you want to talk about in the writing. So before you can have a book, you have to have the outline, but there's another step before that which people don't talk about. Before you have an outline, you need to have a journal, and you need to be documenting your thoughts every day so that you have content to go into the outline, which will turn into the book, which will turn into the product. Okay, so I want you to think about it that way: your journal, your outline, your book, and your product. See, people just talk about the product. Oh, this is the book, this is the book. It takes a little while, months, sometimes years, to do your research and to prepare to write your book. You have to be prepared to become an author. That's the first step, is preparation. And then the other question was, I forgot the other part of the question. So that was, what is the process for self-publishing a book? So the first process is just to start writing. What was the other question? Oh, AI. I just
Other,
remembered. So
yes.
AI.
How
Okay.
can AI assist in the yeah.
Okay, good. So because we have computers and we have ChatGPT, computers and ChatGPT are like the database where you can go to grab ideas. And not only can you grab ideas, but you can give it a prompt and it will feed you, it will spit out exactly what you need to go inside of the book. So here's what I do when I'm journaling and I'm thinking about something that I want to write. I will go to AI and I will ask AI, what are people searching for when it comes to this topic? So for me, it's publishing. So I asked AI, what are people struggling with when it comes to publishing? And the answers are procrastination, writer's block, confusion, confidence, lack of confidence, imposter syndrome. I didn't know any of those things before I used AI. So AI gave me that information. That was my market research. And I said, oh, how can I help people overcome procrastination, imposter syndrome, writer's block? Well, first, I got to go figure out what those things are. So I looked up the definitions. AI is amazing with giving you definitions. What is the meaning of the word? Where does the word come from? What does the word mean in different languages? I mean, it breaks it down so that you can understand your topic. So, AI can help you understand the topic, understand the audience, and then once you know your audience and your topic, you can ask AI, okay, AI, give me an outline for this book. What should I write about in this book to help people with these problems? Okay, AI, I want an outline. I want it to give me 10 chapters. Boom. Within 30 seconds, you have a whole outline, 10 chapters, what you need to do for this topic, whatever your topic is. So it takes away the stress and the overwhelm of your brain to generate an outline. You don't have to generate it by yourself. That's the main piece before you start the publishing process. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if that was helpful.
And then you feed, so you get the outline, but you beef it up with your personal writing.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And as you're writing, you use it as a checklist.
Okay. Okay. So, do you think, how do you feel about currently in the world of writing? How do we still ensure that we have the content is still soulful? Because some people might be very authentic and write on their own, and we'll always have people in life who want to generate the entire content using AI.
Yes. Yes. Quick little story when I
I
was
don't know if it's
teaching.
happening so far, but I'm sure it is.
Yes. A quick story when I was teaching seventh grade. I was teaching seventh grade English in a public school. And there was a group of students that did a research project, and it was for their science class. And they said, Miss Jimerson, we have generated um, paragraphs of content, and we want you to identify whether this content was created by AI or whether it was created by a student. And I said, okay, let me read the content. And I read the content to myself. I read it out loud to them. We had a conversation. It was a fascinating conversation. And I chose the responses that were AI generated. And they said, Miss Jimerson, how did you know that these responses were AI generated? I said, because when I speak to you in person, you don't sound like that. You speak different than you write. And you should not be using AI to completely write your entire content, because when people ask you for your interview and you speak to them, they're going to compare what they read in your content to the way that you're speaking to them in your conversation. And so you're going to lose credibility with people if they feel like you are not the expert. They feel like you're not the author. They feel like you pulled that from somewhere else, whether it be AI or another human being. Your ideas don't sound authentic or original. They sound too much like everybody else. And when you're an author, you don't want to sound like everybody else. You just don't.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have our unique stories to tell. Tell me, because I really enjoy storytelling. I love writing. I think I've always written, even before the advent of AI. I'm that girl that used to write a lot of compositions in school and
Yes.
would feel so good when my composition was so great. And then it's read assembly time in front of every kid. I
Yes.
actually had my dad predicting that I was going to be a journalist or a writer.
Wow.
So too bad it didn't happen. But I feel like it's one way of sharing. Like just from for me, journals are my therapy. Writing
Yes.
is my therapy. It's my go-to. I tell people a
Yes.
lot. I write a lot. However, we have a lot of writers that it becomes a labor of love. That it's sort of our passion, our poison. That thing we love doing. I'm not getting the phrase for it. We love doing, but it doesn't pay the bills.
Yes.
How can you help us as a writer, an author who has already experienced what it means to have six figures
Yes.
coming from writing?
Yes.
How can we monetize and package ourselves better? Because we have so many people with their writing collecting dust in their shelves that have
Yes.
never made money from their writing. And this
Absolutely.
sort of just gets the morale going down. And there's a cost to writing.
Amen.
So please educate us on that. How do we monetize writing?
Amen. So, another quick little story about me. Before I became a teacher, I actually went to school to become a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer because lawyers got more respect, they earned more money, their job was more exciting. So, I went to law school straight out of undergrad, and I was going to be a lawyer. And I studied and I got a scholarship and I had a tutor and a mentor, and my life was on the path to become a lawyer. But I always had this desire on the inside to be something different. But my parents and my society told me being a lawyer is going to be much better for you. And then I started researching and I started feeling and paying attention to my own heart, and my heart was telling me to go in a different direction. However, society said, if you become a writer or anything in the arts, you're going to be a starving artist. So your art is not going to make you any money because people don't value art as much as they should. And so they're not going to pay you for your art. And so I prayed about it. I meditated on it. I journaled about it because my journal is my therapy as well. And my journal told me, and my prayers said, you need to leave law school. You need to get out of there. And you need to go somewhere else that will nurture your creative side so that you can be creative. And so I went to teacher college. I loved it. And then I started teaching, and I absolutely loved it. And then one day, another teacher said, you should write a book. Do you have a book? And it was a science teacher, and I taught history at the time. And I said, why are you telling me I need to write a book? I was a little bit offended because I didn't know how to write a book. I was afraid. So instead of telling her I was afraid, I got offended. She said, you have some interesting ideas. You should be writing these ideas on paper and sharing them with the world. And I said, I can't do that. I just don't know how. And she said, I already have a PhD. I'm already a published author. I can help you do it. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and 12 years went by, and I still was dreaming about it, and I was pregnant with it, but I was teaching, and I had 3 kids, and I was married, and I was busy. And I said, I can't become a writer because I'm too busy. And then I went through depression. I went to therapy. My therapist said, hey, are you writing? And I said, no. She said, why aren't you writing? And I said, I don't know. She said, go buy a journal today and start writing. And when I did that, I said, oh my gosh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing from my soul. And I started writing again, and the fears went away. And I started focusing on really create my creativity. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to write the book. I'm just going to do it. And I called my friend 12 years later and I said, would you please help me to edit and publish this book? And she said, absolutely. And she read it and I published it. And that was 2017. And she said, now go ahead and tell people about it and go ahead and market it and sell it. And I said, ooh, I don't know how to do that. That was a whole nother scary process. But I stepped out on faith and I opened a Facebook because I was afraid of Facebook. People don't think this because today I'm all over Facebook. That's my big thing, Facebook. I love it. But in 2017, I was afraid because I thought someone was going to steal my identity. I thought they were going to stalk me and find my house. All of these fears. You see how all these fears clouded my judgment and caused me to delay my dream. I didn't even know I had this dream. So the book came out. People started calling me for interviews. Can you be on the podcast? Can you be over here? And I said, no, I don't want to be out in the front. I'm afraid. Here we go again. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. And finally, God said, stop being afraid and just do it afraid. Just do it while you're afraid. And the fear is going to dissipate slowly. And so here I am today. There's a lot more steps that happened in between. But once I started to overcome the fear and write more, the fear dissipated. It's still there, but it's back here. It's not in the front. It's back here. And so for those of you you haven't started journaling, get your journal. That's the step one. Write in your journal. It's therapy. It's healing. It pushes the fear to the back. And you go back and read your journal. You're like, wow, who wrote this? Wow, I'm brilliant. But it's coming from God. It's ideas from God. It's not really from you. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love it that you mention you I like it that you're vulnerable enough to share about your fear for social media because some of us who are just born loud, I don't even know how to explain
Yeah,
it.
that's me.
Sometimes it's hard to get it. But how can you be scared of social media? But I have been scared of Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm getting there now, but I've been very comfortable with LinkedIn. So I get because I think LinkedIn there's some decorum, there's some respect.
Yes.
I'm genuinely scared of social media bullying. So
Yeah.
I'm also very careful about what I post.
Yeah.
So would you say a lot of your success from your book writing has come from digital platforms?
90% of my business comes from social media. 90%. Okay. 10% comes from in-person networking and referrals. However, that 90% of my business is also referrals because people refer people to my content. So before they meet me, they see something that I wrote. They see something that I produced on a training like this. They saw me in a live, right? So the content that's on social media, it's from a person telling another person, you need to go listen to her talk. So the referral process starts that way. And then the person they consume my content and they feel like, wow, this is really valuable. Wow. And then they go follow me on YouTube. And then they send me a DM. And then they send me an email. And then we come together on a call and they realize, oh, you're the real deal. The way that you write and speak is the way that you think. That's who you are. See? So when people read your content, they see your face, they hear your voice, they feel your energy, and they know that you're the real deal. But when you put out a bunch of AI generated content, They can't feel you because you feel like everybody else. They don't want everybody else, they want you. Even if you don't speak English very well, they want you with your accent, with all of the mistakes, all the grammar errors, every piece of it that is you, because your audience loves you. Your audience is yours. My audience is mine. We were meant to serve a specific group of people with a specific problem. We weren't meant to serve everyone. And so your people are waiting for you. They're like this. They're waiting for you to show up in all of the ways that God created you, making mistakes, everything. They're waiting. And when they hear you and they see you, they're going to want to buy from you. And they're going to ask you, do you have a book? And if you say yes, how do I get it? Do you have a podcast? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a class? What do you have? What do you have? What do you have? I want all of it. I want everything. You have a favorite artist. Here's an example. Do you have a favorite band or singer or actor or movie? You buy everything, the t-shirt, the hat, the glasses, the book, the bookmark, the shoes, whatever they have, right? You have people that buy all these shoes because of the brand name of the shoes. So you are a brand name. And if you have something and people love you, they love your work, they want to be with you all the time. And that's what your book is. It's a souvenir for people to keep when they experience your greatness, and they're going to keep it forever. So that's how I want you to start thinking about your book. It's a souvenir. It's powerful. It's a legacy for you.
I love this, and I so deeply resonate with that because what is so interesting, it's that people see you through your book. When you are that authentic, you're speaking from the heart. Like I write a lot of children's books, and you can read. I've seen people just read my manuscript before I put my name on it, and somebody say, "This looks like Miss Kim."
Yes. Yes. It feels like her.
Yes. So I think that brand identity should go hand in hand with your writing. It
Amen.
should be there. Yeah. So, Latasha, we have a lot of questions for you, and I can see we have a lot of questions that are coming in here.
Awesome.
We will need the blueprint as the Happiness Tribe. We're about to launch our first book, which is beautiful.
Ooh.
It's so exciting. You have to be there for the launch. And I
Yes.
think one of the things we've learned from COVID is we can do a virtual launch
Yes.
and still create the impact we need. And when you think about it, what were we going to do without books without COVID? If
Right.
we were not writing, if we didn't have books for people to read and get inspired.
Amen.
Yeah, we need to campaign off. We need more people writing books. I have,
Yes.
let me just say a quick hello. Then I come back to you still on monetization. We
Yes.
need a few steps on how do we
Yep.
start with a book launch? Do we start with getting the world to know on social media? How do we come up with that strategy? And also speaking to somebody who has not published a book or started even marketing, what are the steps?
Mhm.
Should we talk about you want to write a book before you even write it, or should you
Yeah.
sit? How do you even come up with this is specifically what I want to tell the world?
Mhm.
Engaging, is the market receptive for what I
Yes.
want to tell the world? Because in the end, we still need to know. Fine, sometimes I write about things that I love without sometimes without even thinking about is anybody gonna read this? But I'm
Yes.
thinking, I love this. Like currently, I'm
Mhm.
researching on, we have a lot of our children, especially, I was born and brought up in Kenya. I came to Botswana when I was 21. As you can see, I'm all gray. So my kids were born in Botswana. That means I've lived, I'm not going to say for how long because that adds up my age. So I've lived.
There is no gray. What are you talking about? There's no gray.
So now what I look at is I struggle with this thing of our children do not understand even the names we give them. Why do I have this name? Why did you give me this name? It's just a name. And we
Right.
have a naming system that I love. I've had my daughter tell me, why should I name my child you? And I'm thinking, you can't say that. This is a tradition. This is what we do. You don't even question. Your firstborn, you name after your mom. Your first son, you name after your dad, where you're married, what, something like that. So that is one set that I'm actually working on a book that can educate the new generation. This is why within our culture, we came up with this naming system. The second thing is each one of our names has a meaning and a beautiful meaning.
Mm.
And call it cliche, call it whatever it could
Yeah.
be, but I strongly feel sometimes we tend to behave like that name. If my name is beautiful, if my name is Grace, I might want it keeps on making me,
Yeah.
I'm Grace, I can't be doing this. My name is Sally, means a beautiful flower. I need to embody that. You know,
Yes.
this is the happiness tribe. We need to live as per the name, the happiness tribe. So I'm coming up with a
Mhm.
book before I actually do research. Will the world embrace this book? And it could be just for maybe people from my community who appreciate that, who resonate with that. So back to you, you'll tell us, do we need to do a little bit of research before we just wake up and write? Sorry, just before you answer that, plus the whole marketing, I've packaged so many questions for you.
Mhm.
Let me read quickly beautiful messages I have here. I have a very good friend of mine called Mr. Bakwesaga. Mr. Bakwesaga, please let me know if you can come to the studio. I can share with you the link. It would be nice to hear from you, especially because I'm a little bit embarrassed because I can't pronounce your name nicely, but I hope I'm right. Mr. Bakosaga
Mhm.
is a very supportive and good friend of mine, based in the US, but originally from Uganda. And I loved it when I saw him throw in some Swahili words, which I saw Miss Paula.
Ooh.
So, Swahili is one of the most popular languages in Africa, which was recently endorsed by African Union to become as an African language. So that's Miss Paula saying thank you. Habarigani. So habarigani is what
Marekani.
Mr. Bakwesa said, which is Mr. Bakwesa. Okay, so Uganda, there's a little bit of some history on Uganda and Kiswahili. Kiswahili is very common in East Africa. Like it's my national language. We learn Kiswahili at school. Everybody speaks Kiswahili. But in Uganda, it was used a little bit in not a very nice way. If Mr. Bakisaga joins us,
Oh,
he will tell us. So they speak some very old Kiswahili that is used by like the forces or the police. So
okay.
habarigani, yeah, you not get somebody young saying habarigani, but it simply means how are you? And thank you, Miss Paula, for responding to habarigani. Miss Paula said, she said habarigani back. When somebody says habarigani, you're supposed to say mzuri sana. Mzuri is I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And then I saw Miss Paula again said, the internal drive to write is a blessing. Choices should not be based on external expectations, but internal impulse. Spirit
Yes.
builds talents within each of us in order to help us align with our purpose. That is so,
Ooh.
that's super deep.
Ooh. Spiritual blessing, purpose, alignment. Wow. Yes.
That's Miss Paula
Yes.
for you. Miss Paula, please join us on stage.
Ooh. Thank you,
And
Miss
then, oh,
Paula.
Miss Paula said, Asante sana dada. No, you can't say, oh, this is Mr. Bakwesega. Bakwesega said, Asante sana, which is thank you very much, sister. Lots of love. Awesome.
Ooh.
Love is in the air. Then again, the happiness tribe already experiencing lots of love. Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
There
Love.
are so many beautiful messages here. Please, our dear listeners and our followers, keep them coming, keep them coming.
I love it.
We are happy to support where need be. Fears are challenges to move us towards our destiny. If we have the courage to move beyond those fears,
Woo!
this one is just dropping gems. I am not coping. What exactly do you have to lose by going public? I'm going to leave that question for you.
Absolutely. What do you have to lose? Nothing but fear.
Mhm.
You
And
lose your fear. You lose the fakeness, and you have to be
yeah,
real. When you're on camera, you're real. Everybody sees your face, right? All the imperfections, right? The way that you speak, you make the mistakes on camera. You stop caring about superficial things like how you look, and if you have to speak exactly the right way. For me, I'm the opposite when it comes to social media. I love Facebook because it's informal. I'm really not that active on LinkedIn because it reminds me of the days where I used to go to the classroom and teach, and I was stuffy and buttoned up with my little teacher suit, and my clipboard and my pen. And I was so formal and so stuffy and nervous about what does everybody think about me, and is my hair okay, and is my outfit okay. Facebook is so much more fun for me because I get to just say whatever. I'm responsible with my words, and I'm an influencer, so I make sure that what I say is inspiring. However, I don't feel like I'm in the classroom, right? I don't feel like I'm in the four walls. I feel like my classroom is under a tree outside. I like to sit outside under trees and relax. I can do that on Facebook. I can go live. LinkedIn, I feel like I should be sitting here like I am at my desk with my professional logo, which, by the way, is this backwards? Is this backwards for you? It is. It's not backwards for you?
actually, it's beautiful. It's I can read it very nicely, Latasha Dimason. It's
Okay,
beautiful.
okay.
It's well said. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. See, I feel like because we're on LinkedIn, I have to have this. I have to have, my lipstick, my makeup. I have to have a nice shirt. But on Facebook, I'm outside and I'm teaching and I'm still delivering the same content, but I'm very relaxed and I'm very informal. And so that's where you and I are going to help each other because we're going to borrow each other's audiences to expand and grow and help each other.
You know, in for me to try, let me try and rescue LinkedIn a little bit.
Yes,
So
please.
we have LinkedIn police who like telling us what to do, and we keep packing them back in the boxes.
Oh,
Yes, it's just usually it's something, it's a facade we've created as maybe the academics, the professionals. But with time, that is getting, we joke. I love, like, I'm just from watching my dog swim, and that makes me so happy. I actually get my phone on, I take a
yes.
video, and sometimes I post it on LinkedIn, and sometimes I get people coming on me
Yes.
like, this is a professional platform where you're posting your dogs, and I go
Right.
like, linked dogs are for LinkedIn and dogs are family.
Yes.
So I think we also try to be a little bit, there's a bit of decorum, especially when
Yes.
we are talking about politics. I think
Yes.
it's one thing I like, that we don't go so far. And
Right.
also LinkedIn is very strict, like you can get banned if you just say anything.
Hmm.
So I am a little bit scared of Facebook because people, and even Twitter, the new X. I can't be on Twitter or X because
Right.
maybe, as Miss Paul says, I still have the fear of being bullied on
Yes.
social media because I think people have more freedom of anything they want to say. So what I feel we do on LinkedIn is we create a loyal community. So you have a tribe that supports your content constantly. And sort of it's sort of when you become a social media influencer, it's like a commitment you take and a responsibility to adhere
Yes.
to giving people that constant information that they need from you. I've seen we started the happiness tribe almost 2 years. We've only missed 2 Sundays, and I get a lot of messages when we miss, which makes me feel this is not about me. This is a community platform, and they've been
Amen.
waiting for this. So we owe it to them for us to respond. So the same
Amen.
thing on LinkedIn, you go like, let me try to adhere. But I mean, like any other social media platform, you can't please everyone. You'll always get somebody who
Yeah.
thinks that we shouldn't appear looking like this, we shouldn't talk like
Right.
that. But we just learn. I just do me and try to
Mhm.
respect everyone else. So I'm coming to
Yeah.
learn a little bit of being that brave on Facebook. I'm looking forward to the lessons.
Yes.
So
It
we
what
to you, Miss
yes.
Latash. We want
So
to see six figures in our accounts through
yes.
books. Give us a
Yes.
blueprint.
Yes.
We
Let
need the
me
blueprint.
I have multiple book prints. Let me blueprints, but let me give you I want to go back to the question about should I write this book? Should I launch it first? Because sometimes you think in your mind, I'm going to write this book because I have a business and I want my business to go six figures. I want to expand. I want to have a team. I want to be, up here when it comes to success, financial success. And so, what I want to talk about is there are some times where you think you're going to write a book about one thing and then it fails because the market doesn't want it. That's painful. And so, my book, the book that I sell today, is book number 5. So, the first 4 books made no money. And so we have to remember that because I didn't just start out the gate making six figures from a book. And it wasn't even my intention. It wasn't a strategy at all in the beginning. I just wanted to own my craft. I just wanted to be respected as a literary person. And so I wrote the first book, the second book, the third book, the fourth book, and the fifth book struck gold. Boom, gold or oil or whatever is valuable to you, diamonds, right? And it was because people wanted it and they were asking me for it. And I kept saying no because I was afraid and I didn't know. And so when I started doing the research using Google and YouTube told me and Google told me that people were searching for the answer for writing a book. And I had that answer inside of me because I had done it so many times. So I broke it down and that's my book that makes money. It's your first book workbook. It's the one that's right here underneath my name. That's book number 5 because I paid attention to the research, what the market said. So for you, I want to challenge your audience right now to give you feedback and let you know if you were to put out a book, audience members, what would you want her to put in that book? This is what I had to do. I had to ask my audience, what do you want me to write about now? And I listened to them and I put all of their ideas together into the book. And so when they bought the book, they already knew what they were buying. It was the solution to their problem. And that is what continues to make me money today because this book is still the solution to the problem, but it's from my audience. So we have to start thinking about the audience and not the author. We have to get out of our head and drop down into our heart and connect with these people and ask the people, what do you want from me? And we have to deliver it. So that's the basis and the foundation of you really have to ask people what they want and you have to give it to them. Don't give people what you want. It's what they want because they're going to pay for what they want, not what you want. They don't care about what you want. They just don't. They want what they want if it's their money. Okay? So that's the basic. And then I want to give you a framework. There is a framework and I call this EAP. I want you to think about it in this order. When you have an idea, you need to produce a very small product, a very small, simple ebook, 10 pages, no more. Publish it, put it on a landing page, throw it out, and see what people have to say. Then you bring it back. Okay, so that's the E. You bring it back and you turn it into an audiobook. The audiobook is an A. You put the audiobook out. You see how it does. You bring it back. Now you turn the ebook and the audiobook into a paperback book. That's the P. If people love it, now it's available in paperback. So you have an ebook, you have an audiobook, and you have a paperback book. Now you have a book because it's available in multiple formats. Okay? That's a book. And now you have a platform.
Now I can understand. Now I can justify your 10,000 fee for writing a book.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I love that concept.
Yes, ma'am. And
I'm
let me
sending
tell
the check.
you, let me give you a bonus because you really do need to do EAP. Most people do PEA. That's the wrong formula because if you produce a paperback, who's paying for the shipping? Who's paying for the printing? Who's paying for these boxes? Who's carrying these boxes to these events? And then you go home with no money because you spent all your money on the books and you don't have any revenue. It's a poverty mindset. It's a poverty thinking because we think that, oh, because I have this book, people are going to buy it. No, you have products, you have overhead. Get rid of the overhead, get rid of the products and start with the idea. Put the idea out and see if people grab it. If they grab the idea, they want the ebook. If they love to hear you speak, they want the audiobook. If they're going to pay to have you on stage, then you're going to show up like I've done. I've been paid to be on stage and they pay me ahead of time. So I take that money and I buy my books. And then I pack up my books and I take them to the audience. I've already been paid to speak. And now they're going to pay me again for the books. That's twice. You have to be smart with your money and your ideas.
Tells me we still need to package the whole thing of book writing as any other business. You step in, try the idea, test it. Um, Before you go full swing, committing money and all that.
Yes.
So now, if mostly, so you put it on the website. What would be your other suggestion to get the eyeballs on the little 10-page book? Where else can we
Yes.
promote it?
Yes. Okay. So this is beautiful. I love this because we were on lockdown. Teachers, we had to teach students online. That was a whole tragedy. There were a lot of things that were negative that happened. Okay. But it was a gift because it forced us to be online. Okay. We had to do business online. We had to do shopping online. We had to do Zoom school online. Okay, so now everybody has to learn the digital space. Okay, so now we have a platform online where we go to meet people and talk to people. We have the Zoom meetings. Okay, if you are an influencer, coach, consultant, expert, from now on, you're going to get in trouble with me if you don't have an ebook that you're giving people in the Zoom room. Okay? You know how many Zoom rooms you go into? You should be dropping that link every single time you get in front of people and speak. They need to have access to the ebook. It can be free, it can be $2. Okay? There's zero overhead. You don't have an excuse not to put the book in the Zoom room. Now, you have to ask the administrator. Okay? You have to ask the facilitator, the coordinator. Be respectful. Okay? Have the decorum, follow the decorum. But you should have an ebook that you're giving away or promoting in the Zoom room. That's easy. But it's not easy because we're afraid.
You are so right. Absolutely. And you know what? I just wish we could emphasize further what we receive by giving. I mean, you can't even quantify, and how just by opening out, giving, sharing what you have, the opportunities that you open. Please tell us more about that.
Oh, yeah. So I have a free gift for your audience. It's completely free. It's everything that I'm talking about right now. It's everything into a checklist, and it's only 2 pages. It's not a book. It's a checklist. It's only 2 pages. I give it away to people for free because I want you to follow the checklist. And if you check everything off, you will have book sales quickly because I'm telling you steps that I did, mistakes that I did. I'm helping you avoid them. I spent a lot of years throwing spaghetti at the wall, figuring it out, trying it, it failed. My first 4 books failed. My book number 5 is successful because of the things that I do on the checklist. And I follow my checklist. And when I follow it, it works. And so the free gift that I have for you all today is just an example of something that you can create easily. 2 pages. And it gives people what they need in order to have a successful book launch and start selling books. So give away your knowledge, give away your expertise. Some of you are doctors and lawyers and therapists and psychologists. You have all these degrees. Take this knowledge, put it into 2 pages, and give it away. That's your gift to humanity. That's why you spent those years in school, not just to get the title and say, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. No, give back to people who need it. And that's the gift, knowledge. It's the gift that keeps giving.
You've inspired me to give. I don't think I give enough. But I think
Well,
also
I'm
it's the
sure,
way
I'm sure you do. I disagree. I'm sure you give a lot because you have a following. You have people who respect you and they show up for you. So you're giving them something. They're not showing up here for no reason. They're here. They love you. Yeah, you're giving them something.
I just wish I had actually spoken to you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Latasha. And yes, indeed, I
Yeah.
do a lot of, I actually run a social enterprise, which is so much of a nonprofit organization. So we do a lot of community work with children, with schools. But listening to you now, I'm thinking, I wish I met you a few years ago. But everything happens for a reason.
Divine timing.
Let me say the first big mistake I made. I've written a lot of books as ebooks, but there's one book that I wrote that I sort of just got obsessed with it because I love technology. And when you love something, it becomes like borderline obsession. You
Yes.
get the feeling like everybody must understand tech. Like it just bothers me.
Yes. Yes. You
Sort of
love it.
assuming everybody should be a software engineer, which is not fair. But then
Yes.
some basics in tech, I feel like it's just sort of it's I mean it's communication, just like not speaking English and you're an English speaking country. It's just
Yeah.
like not knowing how to drive this day and age. How are you gonna
Yeah.
get from point A to B? So
Mhm.
just for the listeners to get it, I think we keep because I've been in business like all my life, but I still keep on making a lot of mistakes. So for
Mhm.
me, it was this passion of I'm working with a lot of children. I work with thousands of children across the continent. And what bothers me is I'll go and do a boot camp, as we call them, where it can be 2 weeks of training educators or children on STEAM education, which sometimes it will be coding, robotics, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, drones technology, packaged with soft skills. But then what was my problem was after I leave, I'll try to talk to those kids a month later. They don't remember what I taught them. So I felt this is not complete. I need to leave them with something.
Amen.
So
Amen.
you don't want to know what I did. I sat down, I wrote a book. I don't know if you can see it.
Tech for learners. Yes.
It's very beautiful with
Yes.
cartoons. I used cartoon characters and then I
Yep.
put a QR code so the learners
Yes.
can access more courses, resources. But guess to the big mistake I made.
What?
Please, Miss Paula, don't laugh at me. I printed I printed 10,000 of this book
Oh.
without a single market
Oh.
because I so much believed in my work. I believed in
Yeah.
the book and I believed every child must access that book.
Yeah.
To the shock of my life, my book didn't
Hmm.
sell.
Right.
First, I was too early. I was too early for the market. This was
Yes.
COVID time. To affordability, people in Africa buy textbooks because we're still very, for lack of a better word, obsessed with passing exam. So
Yes.
if what I'm talking about is not something that will be tested in class, then it's not important.
Right.
So I actually had to come up with a strategy and package my book with boot camps. So I've been able to sell my 10,000, but it has taken more than 2 years to clear my
Yes.
stock. I still have a lot. I still have maybe 1,000 books left.
Wow.
So lesson learned. I committed a lot of money preaching that book that didn't have a confirmed market. I took them to
Yes.
bookshops. I did speaking engagements where I've sold some on speaking engagements, and
Okay.
I've had one of them is Mr. Bakwesa, the one who is talking on LinkedIn. He's just placed an
Yeah.
order for me to ship some to Uganda.
Okay.
I've had people like Miss Paula support my book writing and distribution. It's actually my LinkedIn community that has funded
Okay.
this. So they'll usually go like, I can buy for a school in Kenya, I can buy for a school in South Africa. But me getting into schools, I've sold very few to schools.
Okay.
So I think I love, and I'm going to use your concept of this is me with my assumption that everybody wants to
Mhm.
learn coding, robotics, artificial intelligence. That this program is of age and it's mandatory for every child to learn. But that's not what the world thinks, especially then. Now we're getting there. We sort of getting to see the 21st century skills. It's not a choice. We need to have those skills. So, my dear Natasha, we're trying to milk you as much as we can. And I see we still have a lot of messages on this. But I
Yeah.
still want to know, would you advocate? So, we do a lot of digital marketing. You do speaking engagements that help you push the books. I do a lot of that, speaking engagements as well.
Mhm.
Have you been successful with bookshops? Do you put your books in bookshops?
This is a great question. So, bookshops, not necessarily, but libraries, yes. My book is available in two libraries in Southern California, which is where I grew up as a child in California. I also became a teacher in California and I raised my daughters in California. So I already had an existing audience. I already had people in the community that knew me as a mom and as a teacher. And so when I wrote my book, they asked me, the library asked me to come and share because they wanted to, honor me as a local author. And so, what I tell people is to get your book in the library system, wherever you are in the world, because then your books can get into circulation, right? And we know Circulation is the name of the game. Distribution is the name of the game. So when your book is in the library system, people can access it for free and they can talk about it and they can share it, right? Here we go. Give away the book for free again. And then with bookshops, I had trouble with putting my books in bookshops because when I first started my journey, and this is a whole nother class that I teach right now, I didn't properly copyright my material with the first few books. So I was not able to get them into retail shops like bookstores or Barnes and Noble. I couldn't do that because I didn't have the full copyright because they were only published through Amazon. And that was the only platform that I used at that time because I didn't know any better. So I was not able to get my books into those places. But my book is in 2 libraries in Southern California. And so this is years later, and people are still able to access my books through that method. So yes, and this conversation can go on forever, and I would love to come back as a guest another day and continue because we can talk about this for a long time. There's a lot.
You are right. You're right. And we're learning and enjoying this. One more question is the online platforms. You use Amazon, your website, and which other platform?
So right now, I only use my website. And so there's an example. You'll be able to see what I use for my website. I just sent
Mm-hmm.
you in the chat. I just sent you a link, and it's a link
Okay.
to the free resource that is for your
Mm-hmm.
audience today. It is a checklist. It's
Mm-hmm.
only 2 pages, and it shows you if you do the things on the checklist, you're going to be able to make book sales like this weekend. Okay, if you use them over the week, this weekend, you'll be able to boost your book sales again and reignite that fire and that passion for those books. The books you have on the shelf, those 1,000, you can have those books sold in the next 90 days if you go through the checklist and you follow. Yes, it's
Wow.
everything.
That is quite exciting.
Oh
That's quite
yeah.
exciting. But one key thing I'm learning from you is I have a problem with focusing on my passions when I write without so much thinking about, but what do people want? And I also do anything I struggle with, I think I write about it. Like I've written a
Yes.
manual, a blueprint on digital marketing that small businesses can use because I see every time I hire somebody for my digital marketing work, I have to spend like another 2, 3 months training that person. So I feel like it's a problem, which actually that one as well I wrote without checking the
Yeah.
market. Do
Right.
people really need this? You know?
Yes. 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 That's what AI is for. The market research.
Yes. Hmm. I love this. Tell
Mm.
me, Miss Latasha, we have so many comments, so many people asking how you can support them. Could you please take us through that? You can share your platforms, you can share,
Mhm.
just explain to them what is the process of you supporting. Do you just go like this year I'm working with 20 people and I go on a journey? And then I'd also like you to touch on the retreat. I know you have a writers retreat and I found
Yes.
it very exciting. Would love to know about that. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the question. So, step one for you to connect with me, join my social media. Go to my YouTube channel. It's Your First Book 101. Go to Facebook. I have Your First Book Club. Join the club for free. Okay. Join the club. We have trainings inside the Facebook group. Okay. Also, join my 5-day challenge. I teach a 5-day challenge every month. And I teach exactly what I'm teaching today is exactly what I teach in the 5-day challenge. The next challenge is coming up in April 15th. It's 9 days, I believe. April 15th, we have our next challenge. It's only $49 US. Okay. And it's a 5-day training of you with me in class like this online. And I'm teaching you my blueprint, my frameworks. I have a lot of frameworks depending on what the problem is. But self-publishing 101 is where you start with the basic principles of publishing. Okay, so go to YouTube, go to Facebook, join my club, join the 5-day challenge. When you're inside of the challenge, I will determine whether or not you qualify to go on one of my retreats. My retreats are only for authors that have published. And when we go, we party and we share and we promote the book while we're on the vacation. And that is fun. That is the best part of what I do. And we make sales, and making sales is fun because you have money, right? And so what we're doing this year, I'm taking a group of 10 and we're going to Tokyo, Japan. And these 10 authors are currently writing a collaborative book called an anthology. And these authors are coming together. They're already authors. They have their own books already, but they're coming together as a group to tell the world, this is how you have a successful book business, because we're also business owners. And so that book is going to be out in November, and you will see us on the ship, because we're going to be on a cruise ship in Tokyo, and you will see us going live and saying, hello, we're in Tokyo, we're promoting our book. This is our life. This is what we're doing. And it's an incredible journey. So start with social media, come into the 5-day challenge. If you qualify, I will invite you to the retreat. Okay. And the retreat is something that it's a treat. It's after you've accomplished your goal. It's something that you do to say, I did it. I did it.
Beautiful. That is so beautiful. That is so inspiring. And I think it's so nice if, I mean, we embrace and appreciate that, and getting to know that we should always reward ourselves. Can you tell us a little bit about the sales you generate at the retreat? How is that done? You visit the local communities, or how is that done?
So here's what I've done in the past, and this is where the idea came from. When I was a high school history teacher and even a middle school social studies teacher, I would take 7th graders and 8th graders from California to Washington, D.C., so that they could see the nation's capital. They could see how government works. They could go see the battlefields from history. I'm a history buff. That's my major in college, and also a minor in criminology. And so I would take kids to go see sites. Took kids to New York. I took kids to DC, Virginia, all these different places. And what I realized is that reading the book is okay, but you really need to go visit the place so you can understand the people, the culture, the food, the language, all the stuff. And even though I live in the US, I'm from the US, going to different states in the US is a completely different world. People have different cultures. They have different, there's ethnic groups, just diversity. So I learned that you got to take people on an adventure so they can really learn. Got to get them out of the classroom. So when I became a writing coach and a self-publishing consultant, I noticed that my clients were not writing their books in the 90 days that I gave them. They just weren't finishing their books. And I thought, why? Why are they not finishing their books? This is their dream. They want to do it. But they had so many distractions with life. And my authors are women, and we're over 40, and we have children, and we have pets, and we have spouses, and we have jobs, and we've got businesses. And so what I started doing is taking these women away from their homes so that I could focus and get them through my boot camp. Like you said, boot camp. I would take them away for 5 days, and I would say, okay, put your phone away. We are going to write this book. And when I started doing that, women started finishing their books. So I had a retreat in Philadelphia when I used to live in Philadelphia. I had a retreat in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. When I had a connection there, I got an Airbnb, and we spent the week on the beach, relaxing and having a good time. And the book got done, right? I had another client visit me here in Dallas for 5 days, and I created a retreat experience here in Dallas. I've had clients ask me, when am I going to go back to Puerto Rico? I just went to Puerto Rico in February for my birthday for myself. And the woman who hosted me is a client who she did write her book online, and she invited me to Puerto Rico just to hang out with her. So I hung out with her. And now I have people saying, are you going to go back to Puerto Rico? And I'm like, yes, I will go back to Puerto Rico. I'll create an event for people who want to go with me back to Puerto Rico, because it's a beautiful place. But what I do is I listen to what they need. My women need me to be in their face for 5 days with no distractions, helping them write the book, and they're getting it done. And so the retreats, I gave birth to retreats because my women needed me to create that experience for them. I didn't say, "Oh, I want to do writing retreats one day and I want to take women." No, I listened to the market and I responded with a solution. And that's why they pay me money, because they know that I'm going to deliver, and they have to step up to the plate and hold themselves accountable and get the book done. And so it's business. I run my business very flexible. I'm very flexible, and I do whatever my clients need me to do to get the results. That's the difference between someone who is running a business just to run a business versus someone who has a passion for what they're doing, and they just happen to get rewarded with business.
So much resonates with what you're saying, and I love it, love it, love it. As an educator who is very passionate about experiential learning, making it very much learner centered, project based learning, getting people to do, because that's when we learn best and we understand. And as somebody who sells online courses, I see a huge difference when people do my courses online and
Yes.
when we sit together and work
Yes.
it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate sometimes life does not allow us to do that more often because sometimes there
Yes.
are financial obligations. But when people do, you plant a seed. They don't just learn for that moment, it's a lifetime thing. And we cannot, and maybe this is where we beat AI, because the emotional, the human connection, it's something we humans gravitate towards. And that brings me to wanting to invite you. We are working on a retreat that's going to be in Zanzibar. Have you been to Africa before?
No, I'm ready to come. I'm ready.
It's a beautiful place. I feel like Zanzibar is one place in Africa that I always find myself. It's very
Mm.
calm, it's very peaceful. It has the world best people were all put in Zanzibar. It's a small island. And
Yes.
of course, the water, the beach is healing.
Island.
I've been lucky enough to work a lot in Zanzibar. I've done a lot of work in Zanzibar. And what my employers don't know is I would go to Zanzibar even if they're not paying me.
Right.
I
Right.
hope they're not listening because
Wow.
because I get hired by different organizations that go like, can you come and train? I train on technology, digital marketing. I train on, especially right now, I'm very busy with AI. I train on STEAM education. So
Okay.
usually I'll package it like a boot camp, which people have to sit and do, even if they are adult educators, especially we train a lot of teachers. And I see the outcome of when we're interacting with them every day. We package it into a project that they see coming live, they learn.
Yes.
Now,
Mm.
Miss Latasha, I have a question for you, which is
Mhm.
a bit gender sensitive. Do you only focus on women and why women only? What's going to happen to our brothers? Who is going to marry our daughters?
Right. Exactly.
I have two
Exactly. Yeah.
daughters. I have two daughters, and I'm always like, the boy child has been left behind. Something
Amen.
needs to happen. Because now women,
Amen.
of course, historically it's always been men ahead. I am sure statistic wise, men are still ahead. But then it's gotten to a point where the woman has gotten so empowered
Yes.
and the boy child is struggling. And I think women
Amen.
also, we are more resilient, we adapt easily,
Mhm.
we don't deal with depression or life issues the way men do. I think also because we talk it out all the time. Men
Mhm.
just pack it and maybe put it under the carpet and then it's just killing them. So why aren't we supporting our brothers, or are you? Do you have retreats for
Ooh.
men? Do you blend them, or what happens? Sorry.
Ooh, thank you for that question. I love that question because from 2017 until 2024, I only reached out to women. I only served women because we best serve who we are because we understand our own problems, right? But I was approached last year when I first started building this retreat to Tokyo. I was approached by a couple and they said, "Hey, what are you going to do for the men?" And I said, "I don't know. Can you help me?" And so they said, "Why don't you open up your Tokyo retreat to men and see what happens with that?" And so I opened it up to men. And so right now I have two men that are going on the retreat with us. And I have one sponsor who is a male business coach. So on the retreat, this is the first time I'm hosting a retreat where in the room we will have men who are also trainers and coaches. And so they do what I do for women, but they trained for men. And I said, wow, what a powerful event I'm creating this year. And this is God ordained. I'm not the creator, I'm the co creator with God. And so God said, you need to have the room, split to where you can have your males training here, your females training, then you come together. And so this, I'm going to update you on how this works out because this is something new that I am trying and I am allowing to happen. And it's been fantastic because the young men who follow me on social media, they ask me, where do I go for coaching and mentorship? And now I have men who are coaches and mentors, and I send them to them and they get coaching and mentorship. And I'm able to say, hey, how did it go? I'm able to follow up with them because they were my followers, right? And so I'm like, all right, I can provide you a resource. And that's what I've been able to do as a teacher, as educators. We are a resource and we give people options and resources, places to go for support. And so, yes, this Tokyo retreat is open. I still have actually 3 spaces. And so, first come, first serve. The folks who come through my challenge are going to get first, the first opportunity to come in because I really need to know, are you a good fit? And if you come through the challenge, which is kind of like a boot camp, I can see who the survivors are. And the survivors can go because it's a lot of work.
So the three slots, are they specifically for men, or men and women can apply?
It's open. The 3 spots are open for men and women. But you have to be willing to go through the process of writing a book because that is the purpose. So you have to be committed to setting aside time and space. And it's also a mastermind group, and we meet once a month, and you have to come in and share with us what are your struggles, what are your successes, what do you need support with, why are you tapping into this group? Because we are here to support each other and inspire each other, but we are also here to pour into each other. So we have to know upfront, what are you bringing into the group? And so it's a co-creating atmosphere. We're building it together. This is the first international trip that I've taken with a group of my clients. So it's very exciting. There's a lot of unknowns. But I'm going to document the journey. You will see exactly how it goes step by step because I'm on social media all the time. So you'll see me.
This is so exciting. Super,
Mm-hmm.
super exciting. Miss Paula, Mr. Bakwesa, Selassie, let's go to Tokyo. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go. Sister Yodit, let's go to
Let's
Tokyo.
go.
That will be so exciting. I will speak to the Happiness Tribe. I think we would love to see how we can learn more, how we can collaborate in your space, and much more. I love it to carry on with encouraging people to write a book. We all have a
Amen.
story, and it's therapeutic writing a book. It's healing. Just getting your story out there. One of my
Yes.
biographies I've written, I found myself crying it all out because
Yes.
obviously you get deep into yourself. You think about your childhood, you think about your trauma, you think about your healing journeys, and it gives you some appreciation of the things that you've done in life. Because sometimes we keep on wanting to climb the ladder, not stepping back and first looking at, hey, I think I'm doing something. So, Latasha, you're doing an amazing job, and I truly wish you all the best. We would love to have you again on the show. I'm going to request you to leave all your details there, your social media handles that people can follow you, come to
Yes.
learn more about your work, and get to see how they can collaborate. I would say, as much as I would sound like I'm complaining about the 10,000, this has been a pot of gold. Because I mean,
Yes.
you pay the printers, it's also much cheaper when you pay for volumes. Of
Yes.
course, initially I felt like it was a mistake, but the fact that I still have talk, I think it has been one great source of income. And then since I've already printed the books, I've been able to give very generous commissions and salaries to my team. So essentially, people have benefited from that. And I've also given a lot to corporates. Actually, corporates have paid me good because every time they go like, we need 300 books, we need 1,000 books. I mean, it's in my
Wow.
storage. I just need to go and get the book,
Wow.
which corporates will buy to go and sponsor children. So, of course, when I did it, it was a mistake, but it's a mistake that has turned out to be a blessing.
Amen.
So, Miss Latasha, I'm going to give you the mic to give us your closing remarks. We're getting to the top of
Yes.
the hour. This has been beautiful getting to know you and having these conversations that are still yet to be finished. And the fans of the Happiness Tribe, we have Sister Yodit, who is going to talk about climate action next Sunday. It's a topic that is
Awesome.
much needed. Please don't miss that. She's bringing an expert on that. And then we can see when again we can have Miss Latasha. I think now we would want you to be a regular guest of our
Absolutely.
podcast. Over
I
to
would
you,
love
Miss
it.
Latasha.
Thank you so much. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Just appreciate this platform. Appreciate you. Just a really, really quick little story because I know we're over an hour, but this has been exhilarating for me to be able to interact and engage with your audience, which is such a beautiful, amazing audience, right? I want everyone to know how we met just very quickly. I take a walk every morning and I walk over to my local coffee shop and I sit there and I enjoy my day and I just relax and I'm just grateful. And so I met a beautiful woman named Grace, and her and I just started having a conversation at the coffee shop. And she happened to be on the phone with Kim at the same time. And she said, I want you to meet Kim. I want you to have a conversation with Kim. And that particular day, it didn't quite work out because of the time. But then we had a virtual meeting and we were all together on the conference call talking. And this broadcast was born from a conversation between the three of us. And this came together so quickly. And they put together the graphic, the beautiful graphic that you see behind Kim. And this organically and very naturally turned into a conversation with three experts, right? And this is how life unfolds when you allow yourself to lean into your passion and don't put up walls. Don't be afraid. Just open up your mouth and talk about what you do, and you'll see other people will say, oh my goodness, wow. They'll recognize the greatness in you and they'll say, I need what you do to come to what I do, and we can serve people at a higher level. And it's so exciting because you see the ideas going like this in your head. You see the ideas, right? And so I would love for all of you to share comments with me directly. Reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. Send me a message. Send me a connection request so that I can connect with you on LinkedIn. I love going in the DMs and just talking. And I send voice clips through my LinkedIn because I'm a speaker and I believe speakers should speak. And so I will speak to you. I will send you a voice clip so we can go back and forth. If you're on Facebook, it's the same thing. Send me a connection request, friend request. Go into the DM, send me a DM, direct message. I will message you back. Go to YouTube, Your First Book 101. Subscribe to that channel. I'm monetizing that channel. This will be the first year that I will actually be monetizing that channel. So you'll be a part of that process with me. My website is I sent the link already to get that, the free gift. Get the free gift. You will become a part of my email list. I email once a week, twice a week, sometimes, depending on what I'm doing. Join the 5-day challenge. It's only $49. We start on April 15th, and you will get to meet some of my current clients because they come back and take the challenge all the time. They want to challenge themselves and see, can I write a book in 5 days? That's always the question. Can I write a book in 5 days? Really? And I say, with me as your coach, absolutely. So that's it. That's me, Latasha Jimerson. You can Google me. I'm everywhere. I'm all over the place. And I love what I do. And so come with me, hang out with me.
So much. Thank you so much, Latasha. You've dropped a lot of gems. It's a beautiful day, and you got it getting even better. And especially the inspiration of getting our audience to understand, and including I, that indeed you can create wealth through books. So my message to our audience: let's all get writing. Words have power,
Yeah.
and if we can be strategic about that, first you're paying it forward. You are living your legacy. You're making this world a better place. To think a lot of us, we are walking, yes, we're still walking wounded, but we are better humans because somebody wrote a book that inspired us. Um, I would love, let's have a session that we can mention the authors we've read that we love so much talking about, because that's going to be another
Yes.
topic if I start talking about that right now. I
Yeah.
have books that have become my Bible. I need to, like the Four Agreements. It's a book that I have to read at least every 6 months or every year. It gets me back to the source, if I might call it so.
Yes.
So it's beautiful. Somebody sat, paid attention, and read something. So as we start to write, and some of us, especially like Miss Paula, who is already on the journey, I know you're very deep, you're very spiritual. And anybody else who is thinking about writing a book, let's be very intentional. Let's write to be remembered. Let's write to be recommended, and make sure that whatever we put in there, we're planting a seed and it's gonna germinate. We're feeding the soul. Somebody's life is gonna be
Amen.
better because we wrote that book. Your ideas deserve an audience. Your voice deserves value. So let's get talking. So let's go out there,
Mm.
market boldly. Some of us still sitting on the fence with social media.
Yeah.
We have to face our fears, sell with our soul, and let our books become the seed that grows an empire. This is how legacies are
Mhm.
created. In this new age with algorithms, with AI, the attention span can be very small. And the most powerful stories is still that one that connects human to human. We've seen some countries like Sweden going back to the traditional way of emphasizing on kids should read books.
Amen.
So we all need to pay attention to that. These are people who have researched and seen, yes, there's a lot of hype with technology. It still has its space, but there's a feel on touching a book and connecting with humans. So, good people, it has been a pleasant Sunday. Thank you so much, Professor Maheswa. He says, excellent panel, keep up the good work. We appreciate you. Our listeners, sorry, I can't see people who are on YouTube and who are on Facebook. We value your time. This podcast would not happen without your presence. We appreciate you, and we're going to keep on bringing you more brilliant and beautiful people that can inspire us and make this world a better place for us all. Until next Sunday, I'm wishing you all a pleasant week. Let's go out there and inspire somebody. Let's do some good. That's how we pay our rent for our room on this planet. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you, Latasha,
You're
and goodbye.
welcome.